Hi, I'm Jim Tomberlin, Multisite and Merger Strategist here at the Unstuck Group. The concept of one church meeting in multiple locations is not new. It began in Acts chapter 2 with the church in Jerusalem that had grown to a church of several thousand, meeting in many locations. This one church, multiple locations concept has seen many expressions throughout church history as church leaders adapted to changing cultural realities and leveraged technological advances. Now, it's clear that the COVID-19 pandemic has especially shifted the landscape of church as a whole and multi-site specifically. So what does multi-site look like in the future, especially as it relates to physical campuses? Well, let's look at the facts. COVID may have finally cured us of our addiction to unsustainable mega campuses. We've become more aware of the fact that buildings don't reach people, people reach people. And also that buildings don't generate income, but life-changing ministry does. The popularity of online giving demonstrates that you don't have to come to a building to give your tithes and offerings. Now, it's clear that the financial sustainable model for multi-site churches is launching big in small facilities with multiple services. So it's my prediction going forward that new church buildings will be smaller, simpler, multi-purpose, multi-venue, and community-centric. When it comes to multi-site campuses, small is the new big. Not only is small the new big, though, but community-centric is the new priority. You see, multi-siting is all about taking church to the people, to the communities where people live, where they live. So when it comes to facilities, the multi-site mindset is, let's acquire buildings to serve the community in addition to serving our church family. In other words, let's be community-centric and multi-purpose in the use of our buildings rather than being single-purpose and congregation-centric. Let's make our facilities a community center where we also do church. Let's not just try to be the best church we can in the community, but let's strive to be the best church we can for the community. These kind of churches look for ways to serve their communities with their buildings, like renting space to a preschool or childcare provider during the week, turning their welcome center into a community cafe, offering after-school mentoring programs, sharing space with nonprofit organizations like food banks and clothing centers, or leasing office and parking space to local businesses. These kind of churches are not just in the community, they are for the community. Now, you know, the biggest obstacle in going multi-site is finding a facility. Pre-COVID, 50% of multi-site campuses started portable in a school or theater, which is now becoming more challenging in the COVID era. Now, schools and theaters are a great place to start a congregation, start a multi-site campus, but not a great place to grow one after about 2 years. The goal of any new church or campus is to land in a 24/7 location as soon as possible. Now, we also have seen 40% of multi-site campuses have come about through a church merger, and that's increasing in this new normal. Now, when it comes to cost, should multi-site churches buy, build, or rent facilities? Here are a couple rules of thumb. Renting a facility is usually a whole lot cheaper than buying one, and buying an existing building is definitely more cost-effective than buying land and building a new facility. So what do multi-site churches look for in a facility? First of all, multi-site churches don't need large facilities. That's one of the compelling reasons to multi-site. All they need are buildings where they can do multiple services in a building that's in the 15 to 30,000 square foot range to accommodate 400 to 600 seats with corresponding children's space, generous lobby space for people to connect, and adequate parking. Now, when it comes to multi-site campuses in the new normal, small is the new big, and community-centric is the new priority. And the debate is over. The pandemic has legitimized church online. Digital church is here to stay. More people than ever imagined are now comfortable logging into church online through their computers, tablets, or smartphones, anytime, from anywhere. If your church hasn't incorporated digital ministry as a key component of your ministry strategy, you're behind the curve, and you're missing a huge opportunity to reach new and more people. Simply put, the online church has become the front door for people seeking spiritually or looking for a church home, as well as a side door for people wanting to stay engaged in their church. The online church has not only become the front door to the church, it's also becoming the point of the spear of outward-focused churches reaching people in the digital neighborhood locally and globally, and moving them into biblical community online and on site. Now, effective multi-site churches in the new normal will see themselves as hybrid churches with both physical and digital campuses. Hybrid churches will adapt their adult and student and children on-site ministries into online expressions. Same ministries, different delivery systems. These churches will have dedicated online staff, some hybrid staff that contribute on-site and online, and will contract specialists like videographers and scriptwriters for online content. Now, content is important, but connecting people to community is the goal. 20 years ago, business consultant James Collins observed that successful companies embraced the genius of the and. They were not either-or thinkers, but both and doers. The effective churches of the 21st century will be both and hybrid churches with multiple locations that engage people on-site and online, with bricks and clicks. The largest neighborhood in the world is at your church's fingertips. Millions who live there need a church like yours. Will you take your church to them? Before COVID, church mergers were increasing, with 40% of multi-site campuses being acquired through a merger. This percentage will increase for multi-site churches in the new normal. I see this as a big win because pre-pandemic, 80% of the 320,000 Protestant churches in North America were stuck or even struggling to survive. Merging is a whole lot better than closing, and it's a win-win for stuck or struggling churches to start a new ministry season by joining a strong, healthy church. So what does the future look like for church mergers in the new normal? Well, the digital age has made church mergers easier, faster, and more accessible for churches that are further apart from each other geographically. So let me unpack this a little bit more. The technology that we have today is, first of all, making church mergers easier. Online church services now allow people to experience the other church digitally. Email and video can be used to communicate with the two congregations. Photos and videos help members visualize the new church space. Consultations can occur by Zoom. Virtual town hall meetings and electronic voting can take place as well. Now, because of the digital tools at our disposal, church mergers are also faster. This is very important because time is one of the biggest killers of church mergers. The more time a merger negotiation takes, the more opportunity for it to be sabotaged, unravel, or diminished in momentum. The ability to get to know another church online accelerates the merger courtship. It doesn't need to take a long time to determine if a merger is right for two churches. We know from our Better Together surveys that the average length of a church merger from the initial conversation to final approval is around 8 months. That is more than enough time to determine if a merger is possible, feasible, and desirable. The internet also allows church mergers to occur further distances apart from each other geographically. Some multi-site churches are using mergers as a way to extend their reach beyond local and regional impact. I currently serve as the chief of staff at Christ Fellowship in Miami that has 7 campuses. 2 of them came by way of a merger. In addition, Christ Fellowship has a dozen congregations across the Caribbean and South America. 4 of them came by way of a merger. Now, going forward into the new normal, we are going to see more mergers become more normal in the new normal, both regionally and globally. Now, there are many benefits to a church merger, but there are also many landmines you can step on and potholes to fall into on the merger journey. In Proverbs 15, Solomon writes that plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. When it comes to church mergers, it's good sense and good stewardship to have an experienced guide to assist you along the way. Most church mergers need a facilitator that both congregations can trust, who knows how to navigate the delicate conversations that have to occur for a successful merger outcome. So here's what I recommend. First of all, read Better Together, Making Church Mergers Work. Now, be sure to get the expanded and updated edition that includes everything from the first edition, but a whole lot more. Secondly, seek out a mentor, a coach, or a consultant to assist you in facilitating the merger process. Third, get advice from your denominational or network office. Fourth, talk to others who have experienced a church merger. There's no need to pay the stupid tax that others have already paid. And finally, if you still need help, contact us at the Unstuck Group. We have seasoned merger consultants who would be glad to assist you in your merger journey. So let me ask you, is there a church merger in your future? With each passing year, your answer is more and more likely to be yes.